Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My goodness, I have been watching the chat box and it has been flying by with so much information. I can't keep up with it. This is fabulous. Welcome to today's WordPress.com webinar on Supercharge your social media, where we're going to go over some of the tools for your WordPress.com website on integrating back and forth between social media. My name's Tanya. I'm a happiness engineer here at WordPress.com. I've been with WordPress for just over 3 years now, and I am from Alberta, Canada. So I'm in the Calgary area, actually. And I did see a few Canadas fly by there real quick. But we've got all over the world here. We've got India, Romania, lots of places from the US. I'm not even going to try and name them all. Australia, Spain, UK, like it's just going, it's going fast. You can see it. All right, so let's get jumping in here. I'm going to start flipping through my screens and we'll show you how this is going to work. So this is a special topic webinar. So if you've attended any of our other webinars, this one's going to be a little bit different. In some of our more routine, regular topic ones, we show a video. It's a little bit more slower paced, relaxed. I'm not sure how you want to define that. This one's different. We're going to do everything live. So you get to watch me make all kinds of mistakes, which is awesome. But we're going to cover off these specific topics here that are showing on my screen. So I'm going to walk you through how to create a link in bio page, and I'll explain a little more if you're not sure what that is. We're going to talk about getting your website posts over into your social media accounts and how to get your social media feeds into your website, creating menus and using social icons throughout your website, and also the important part of sharing, allowing your audience and your visitors to help you spread the word and share your content. So those are all the things that we're going to run through today, and I'm going to literally live demo show you how to do these things. I've got a few colleagues here with me today who are going to be in the background. They're going to work on answering questions that are in the Q&A. So let me actually, from the agenda. So my welcome, stumbling a little here, doing the live demos, and then there will be a live Q&A. I might snag a couple questions as we go along, kind of depends how it goes. I don't want to be too distracted, and I want to make sure that we don't run out of time for covering the key points, okay? So in regards to your questions, a bunch of you have already been finding the Q&A box. If you haven't yet, have a look down probably the bottom of your Zoom screen, and you should see this double speech balloon icon. So it looks a little different from the chat box icon. Get that Q&A section opened, and that's where you want to be asking your questions. And my colleagues, like I said, they're in the background. They're going to be typing a bunch of answers to try and keep up with you guys. We'll see who types faster. Just to also note, we're not going to be directly monitoring the chat box. So to be honest, I'm going to call on you guys to help with that. We have a huge audience. There's over 1,500 people here today. So that chat box is going to be real busy. But if any of you see something that somebody else and another attendee has asked about, I saw one fly by there that somebody can't hear me. Well, I can tell them to unmute their computer, but they can't hear me telling them that. So, if you see anything like that, it is a party in the chat. If you see anything like that you think you can help out with, please go ahead and do that. Just make sure that your setting is set to send that message to everyone, because if it's set to just hosts and panelists, then only I'm going to see it, or my colleagues will see it, which we probably won't see it because it's going so fast. All right, so that kind of covers that. I'm going to, I don't know if there's any point, but right now I am going to put this link in the chat box. Grab it quick. This link that I've just put in there is where we will be posting the replay of this entire recording. So that's something else that's a little different from our standard webinars. We don't often repost this, the ones that we do every single day. This one, you will be able to watch the replay at that link that I put in, and we'll add the link in a few more times. There will also be time at the end of it where I'll make sure to leave the screen open so you can really copy and paste and grab links and all that kind of stuff. So that covers that. The other thing I want to cover before we jump into the actual demo is how to get additional support. Now, with this size of audience here, oh, we're almost up to 1,600 now. With that size of audience, we have people coming from all different areas of WordPress. So some of you may be aware there's WordPress.com. There are self-hosted WordPress sites. Now, I'm not going to get into the details behind the differences and all that in this webinar. We're very focused on a particular topic here today. But I do want you to know that if you have a WordPress.com account and that's where your site is hosted, then all of these links, and again, I'll put this a few times, but I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat box for you. A note on that chat box, you can't copy that entire message. You have to click on each link to open them. Okay, so just be heads up on that. However, when we end the webinar, when you eventually leave, you'll probably get prompted to save the chat box messages. It's a text document. So that's another way you can get that stuff back out of the chat box. What else? Okay, now, if you have a self-hosted WordPress site, your best option for getting support is through your host or through WordPress.org and going into the support documents and forums there. So let me post that message. Excuse me, always happens, froggy throat when I'm talking. Okay, so that's where self-hosted WordPress sites can get additional support as well. One more quick thing for WordPress.com users, when you are in your account, question mark, bottom right-hand corner of most pages, contact us is where you're going to be able to reach out with your questions. Depending on your plan, that button will either say email us or chat with us. Okay, so different ways of getting support, but that's how you can reach out to us directly. Okay, so that's how you can get support if we're not able to get to all of your questions, or if you think of a question after the fact as well. We're ready. We're ready to, should we do it? Let's do it. All right, let's get into the first demo portion of creating the link in bio page. Now, there's a few ways to do this, and I just put a couple of screenshots here to show you examples. For a more basic one, excuse me. Actually, let me back up. The link in bio page, what is it? So if you have used Instagram in particular, you know that when you post your messages or additional posts onto Instagram, you can't put links into those posts. The only link you're allowed in Instagram is the one single link in your bio. So companies like Linktree, for example, came up with this link in bio service or feature that they offer where you can create this page, which looks similar to the one on the left here, of a bunch of buttons that link out to other areas. So you can have your single link in your bio, people click that, and now they get the list of links of where you want to direct them to. So if you have a special offer, or if you have a book release coming up, or maybe you just did a special recipe that you want to share, all kinds of different reasons for using it, then having that single link go to a page that directs people gives you a little more control over where you're sending people to. Now, you can use third-party tools for that. I honestly don't have a huge, big argument as to why you should do it one way or the other, with the exception that I personally am not a fan of having to log in and out of a whole bunch of different accounts. The fact that we're able to build this type of a page directly in our website is super convenient. So you can have all your things in one place. So I'm going to walk you through 3 different options of how to create a simple one like this. But the other benefit of doing it in your website is that you can actually create a much more dynamic one. I'm going to show you how those options work as well. Okay, so let's flip over. This is my demo site, and I'm just using a free account on this. So if you're on the WordPress.com side of things, any plan, these are steps you can do on any plan. If you're on the self-hosted side of things, it's going to be very similar. Things might work a little bit differently. You might have different theme options. And there's one feature that I don't think you do have, but I'll touch on that when we get there. So let's first take a look at the themes. So if we go to Appearance Themes, in here, we could choose to pick a theme that is designed to show this kind of link in bio setup. So let's click Live Demo and have a look at that. That would be your site's theme. It's pretty plain, pretty basic, and you might not want to make your entire site follow this sort of format. You may have a terrific theme in place and you don't want to mess with that. That's okay. The other thing you might find is you might look at this and go, hey, that's great, but I'm on the free plan and I don't really want to pay for a premium theme. That's okay too, because what I'm going to show you, now this is the feature that I believe this is focused on WordPress.com, and I could be wrong on that. My time is spent 100% in WordPress.com, so I'm not 100% certain actually if self-hosted sites get this, but I have had some people comment to me before that they don't see this page. So if you don't see this page, that's okay. I'm going to have another option for you shortly. But first, if you have this option for selecting a predefined layout, this is where you can do that from. Some of these different sections, I'm pointing at my screen, some of these sections on the left here will have different options available. This is an example of one right here, but there's not really any other ones in this featured section. So if we click on About, we're going to see we actually have more options, and including the one that was part of that paid premium theme as well. So we can put this one in our free site, no problem, because it's just an arrangement of blocks. The beauty of this is that it's all arranged for you. You don't have to try and figure it out and set it up and all that fun stuff. And it really is as simple as click. Okay, we're done. That's the end of today. Just kidding. That's as easy as it is to get these blocks into a page. Now, from here, you would edit it. You would maybe change the picture. So click on it, click replace, go into the text, type in what you want, change the color so you can see it better, replace the video, or you can remove things. So these three dots, remove the video out, and now you've got this. You go, geez, you know, that background image is really tall and I don't want it to take up that much space. No problem. Grab the dot, drag it up as high as you can, and now it's this nice, more contained thing. And if we preview that, we are going to see, there we go, single page, a little bit of scrolling, but nothing super important there. So it's all above the fold. People get to your information. With these buttons, you just go in and you type in what you want it to say. So Facebook page, and then you can link it to, you would put in your actual page or account URL. I've just got the basic one there. And you just add that link. You can tell it to open in a new tab, and away you go. You do that for each of your buttons. If you want to add additional buttons, you can click on one of them and you can duplicate the button, which is going to just keep adding new buttons for you. Or you can remove buttons if you want to have less displaying. So you have a lot of control over what you want to have here. And then you're working with blocks. So if you're a little uncertain how to work with the blocks, I do recommend going into our support documentations and digging into that a little bit deeper. But every single block you click on, you're going to have a toolbar across the top. You're going to have settings down the right-hand side. And this is true whether you're in WordPress.com or self-hosted. This block editor works the same way. So you can start playing around and clicking on features and just seeing what all the different options are. Now, maybe you look at this and you go, geez, you know, I don't like it as much. It's not what I wanted. So you could delete the page and start over with a new page template if you wanted to. But if we use this little list view icon at the top, this is super handy for seeing everything that's on the page. And when you come in here, it allows you to make sure that you have the outer block of a whole bunch of pieces selected. So this here means I've got all of this selected. I can now click these three dots and remove that, and it just all goes away. You don't have to try and remove one piece at a time. You could change the title, get rid of that. Now you say, okay, now I want to try one of those other layouts. Now this is the feature that definitely works in both WordPress.com and self-hosted. And that's if you go to this plus sign up here, we have block patterns. So this is the third option out of my list of topics here. We had theme, we've done page layout. Now we're doing the block patterns. And in these block patterns, you can, again, go to different sections, categories, and then scroll through and look for these and be like, oh, you know, I kind of like that one because it's fun colors. And you just click it. And once again, you have all of those blocks brought into place for you. And then again, from here, you just start editing. So you can scooch that up and make it tighter for height wise. You can remove pieces out of it. You can duplicate the buttons. It's all the same. You can move these buttons up and down if you wanted to, you know, space them out or whatever and rearrange them, that kind of thing. So you've got all that that you can do with this. And it really is that simple to just remove and then add a new one. And you can add these block patterns either to a blank new page the way I just did, or you can add it to an existing page. So let's say you wanted to drop this, you know, set of buttons on top of your contact page. You can do that. The other thing you could do if you wanted, I don't know if this is much of a use case, but let's say you spend a bunch of time and you get this all set up and you add all your links and it's exactly the way you want it. So now if you have the whole thing selected, you can actually copy that block. You could also make it a reusable block, which allows you to pull it in on different pages. But even if you just copy it, and then we go over to, say, let's go to my pages and let's go to my contact page. We can go in here and let's insert a block before and paste. Boom, there you go. Everything's there exactly the way you set it up on the other one. And now you've got it here as well, or instead of, if you change your mind on where you want it. You don't have to start from scratch and rebuild it again. And that's kind of it on that one. So that covers off these three options of creating a pretty basic button style link in bio page. Now, the other thing that I want to show you though, is that we actually have our cover blocks, which can really help to create more dynamic, more unique type of link in bio type pages. So this here is a cover block, and it's just got some text on it and then a button that would link through to wherever you want it to link through to. And you can stack these and have a few different panels in place, if you will. The other thing you can do with it is, if you like this feature, not everybody does, but you can do a parallax effect. So then your text is scrolling over top of your image. And I gotta admit, I think this is a really pretty page, but I like pretty things. So that is another option as well. Now, let me just show you real quick how to actually create that type of a page. Because it's not actually that difficult. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to start with a blank page in this case. And now you can add blocks clicking this plus sign, or if you know what you are looking for, you can type the slash and just start typing the name of the block, and that'll pull it up as well. So let's grab an image from our media library. So it just kind of drops it in like this. Well, we don't want that. We want it to be full width. Okay, that's better. I don't want it that tall, so let's make it a little shorter there. We'll go there. When you have it in, there's a couple different settings. Right now we have a focal point picker, so you can actually move around what the focal point is of the background image. If you click the fixed background, it's going to zoom it differently and you don't have the focal picker, but that's what's going to give you that parallax effect over the image. Then from here, you can start typing your text again. So let's go Facebook page. I go, well, we can't see that. So let's say we change the color to white. Great, now we can see it. I'm going to show you how we're going to break this. We're going to put a link in on this. And what we're going to find, the text went black again. So the thing is different themes have different settings. And the theme I'm using here doesn't give us an option to control the link color easily. If you want to use some CSS or whatever, that's possible. You could choose a different theme, which does have the link option for setting the color and more control. But if you're in a theme that you like and a feature or a setting isn't available, then you just get creative and you go, okay, well, a link text on top of this picture isn't going to work this way. You could opt to change the overlay color. You could say, okay, well, we'll go with a white overlay, make it bright, and then the black text is okay. But if you don't want to do that either, then you say, well, I won't use text. Let's put a button on top of this image instead. And now we can center it. We can add our text to it, and we can link the button like so. Tell it to open in a new tab, and away we go. And then you can adjust things like, say, the width of the button. Maybe you want it to be wider. You have different options there. Okay, you can change all the background color settings, all that kind of stuff. Once you have one panel set up and you've got it the way you want it, then what you can do is that good old duplicate. So then you can duplicate it and now just edit it. So let's just pop a different picture in here. And you would change the text and change the link. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go through that process. And let's do that. So now we've got 3. Now you're going to notice on this page, I've got white gaps between these images. This might be a theme thing. So whenever you're building something out, always be sure to check the preview to see what the live version is actually going to look like. Because on this theme, there is actually no gap between those pictures when you preview the live version. So keep an eye out for stuff like that. If you like the space and you find, oh, geez, it stacked it on me, well, you can add a spacer block. So you would just go down here and click this plus sign in the middle, and you could type in spacer, spacer, like that. And you could put a spacer block in, and then you could control how much space is between them if you want to do that. And that's it. Now, one more quick thing I do want to show you, and I'm just going to show you, I'm not going to do a how-to on this, is many of you may be familiar with the fact that we now have a full site editing feature available with WordPress. It's a new release and it does some amazing things. But if we take a look, okay, so we've got, let's go to our home page. We've got this banner across the top with our site title and our menu. And when we go to our cool links page, we've got our page title, we've got the menu. We're like, well, it kind of doesn't look awesome. One of the beautiful things with full site editing is that when you set it up, and I've already preset this up, but when you set it up and you have a full site editing theme active, you can have different headers on different pages. So now if we go to my home page, we're going to see the header has changed because I changed themes. So it displays a little different. We've still got our menu. We've got our social links here too, which I'll be getting into. But if I go to my seasons page, that header is gone. Okay, so you do have that kind of ability within full site editing. If you're not familiar with that feature, I recommend going to our main webinars page, drop that into the chat box there, scroll down. These are all our daily webinars. A little bit further, you'll get to our special topic webinars, and we have one on full site editing. It actually takes place tomorrow. There will be more coming in March and so on, but there is one tomorrow if you'd like to attend that one and learn a little bit more about that feature in terms of being able to set up these headers. So that was a lot of talking. I am going to flip this back to my other theme. And as you can see, I'm flipping themes back and forth here, and it hasn't messed anything up. So that's another question we get a lot of the time, is it's okay to flip your themes around. That's off topic, but just so you know, now we're back to the way it was. All right, so that was a fast run through. I can see we've had a ton of questions going through here. I'm not gonna sidetrack. Well, maybe I will. Gerardo has asked, is there a benefit of using a link in bio page versus using social media icons on the header and footer? So So the social media icons, you're really only going to use if you're creating this kind of a page. Let me refresh that again, get my menu back. If you're creating this sort of a page where you're specifically going to your social media sites. No, it's really what you prefer if you'd rather use the icons, which I'm going to show you how to do in a moment here. But, if you want to create something a little bit more dynamic, something special, then you can't do that in the menu. So it's really a personal preference. It really comes down to what you prefer. There's really not a this is better or that is better. And it's getting to know your audience, what works well for them, and go from there. All right, I'm going to keep moving here and move on to the next one, which is posting to social. So now this feature here is about getting your content from your website into your social media accounts. And WordPress has a feature called Publicize. On WordPress.com plans, it's included on all of them. It doesn't matter what plan you have. And if you're on a self-hosted site, it's a Jetpack feature. So just make sure you have the Jetpack plugin installed and you'll have access to these tools. So to do this, we want to go to Tools, Marketing, and it's under Connections. And this is where you can connect your social media accounts. Now we can do 4 different ones. We can connect to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Tumblr. And this is for automatic posting. So when we set this up, when we publish a new post, it's automatically going to share to whatever we have connected here. And connecting is as simple as clicking the button. If you're already logged in, which I am, it's going to pull up. So make sure you've got the right account here, and then just click Authorize App. And then you're going to get a confirmation box here, say connect. And now we're going to see this changes to disconnect if you want to get rid of it. And you can see that it's connected. You can also connect more than one Twitter account to this, which will allow you to pick and choose which accounts certain posts are sharing out to. For Facebook, keep in mind that a couple of years ago, Facebook made a change and you can only connect to a Facebook page. You can no longer connect to a Facebook account, your personal timeline account. It has to be a page. Okay, so keep that in mind. Once you have this all set up with the things that you want, and then you go to your posts, we have a couple different things here. So one, when we create a new post, Regina, I will touch on Instagram shortly. Okay, Instagram does work differently, but I will cover that in a moment. For a new post, this Jetpack icon up in the top corner here is where you're going to find the settings of whether you want to share or not to whatever accounts you have connected. And then you can type a custom message that's going to share with that post. You set it all up, you do all your things, and then when you click publish, whichever ones are selected here, it's going to automatically share to them when you publish that post. If you schedule the post, so if you pick a different date and time in the future to schedule the post, then that share is going to happen when the post publishes at the scheduled time. Okay, so it's all connected to whatever that published date and time is. Now, the other thing though, is that often we want to reshare, right? Certain posts we want to send it out more than once. You can't do that from here. Okay, you can only share it the once, and once a post is published, if you go in and make changes or you duplicate, or, I don't know about the duplicate thing anymore, but definitely if you go in and make changes, it's not going to reshare with those updates. But with certain plans, you can schedule out resharing and multiple sharing. So on this free account, it's not going to work. But if you go into your list of posts, go here and click share, it's going to say upgrade. Okay. But if you are on the premium plan, let's flip over there and I'll show you that one. When you're on the premium plan and you click that share button, you're going to get the option here of, okay, share it to this account, type your message, schedule your date and time. And when you pick a date and time in the future, that changes to schedule, just like it does in the post. And then that's going to schedule another share to that social account at the date and time that you set it to. Okay, so you have that option for resharing on certain plans. So you'll want to investigate that from that angle. but you absolutely can still do the automatic share when it publishes right from a free account. The Instagram stuff, it kind of crosses over between my next section that I'm going to go into. So let me go ahead and show you that. So the thing with Instagram is it's only one direction. So Instagram is kind of locked down a little bit. It doesn't allow just anybody to auto post to the platform. And I haven't investigated it in quite some time, but it used to be, I know you used to be able to use Buffer and Hootsuite, possibly some other ones where you could create scheduling of your posts to Instagram. Now, it's a different sort of setup. So you would need to investigate those tools. If you're in WordPress.com, you would need to be on the business plan because it's integrating plugins to be able to access those types of features. If you're on a self-hosted site, then you probably have access to plugins, so you can go ahead and play around with that. So that's kind of the options there between doing auto posting to Instagram. But what we do with Instagram is we pull Instagram into our website. So again, if we go back to tools and marketing and connections, down the bottom is where you connect your Instagram. And when you connect it here, then you're going to be able to use the tools I'm going to show you next to pull Instagram into your website. Okay, so on that note, let's move forward to social feeds. So this part is all about bringing your social media feeds into your website. So this is that cross integration, right? We want it bi-directional. We want people seeing everything that we have to offer and attracting them to different areas of our content. So with the social media feeds, you can do this pretty much anywhere in your site, no matter what theme you're using. You know, some themes are still working with the sidebars and footers as areas, and you'll use widgets in those areas. Others don't have that, and you put it right on the page and you create like a column layout where you're placing things. So there's a lot of different options of how you can do that. You need to investigate your theme and what tools are available. But let's go in and create a new page, and I'll just show you how this does work. Yeah, perfect. Read the comments. There's good information in there. All right, so from a blank page, if we click the plus sign up here, we have got embeds that we're looking for. And you can see there is a whole pile of different types of embedding that you can do. Some of these, I don't even know what they are, but you can absolutely embed Twitter posts or feeds, Facebook, Tumblr, TikTok, Instagram, all of that kind of stuff. And these are for bringing your content in. So you'll notice with Instagram, we've got one here, and then we've got this latest Instagram posts. So this one would be to embed a single post. So you would get the URL for one particular Instagram post and plunk it on the page. This one is the one where you need to have your connection set up to Instagram so that it will connect to your Instagram account, and then it will pull in, and you'll have settings to choose how to display what you want in this grid list kind of thing. Okay, so that's how you would pull in your Instagram posts. I don't have Instagram connected to this account, so let's throw in a Twitter one. Now I'm going to show you two things with this. First one is if we just pull in the main feed, like account feed, if you will, and we copy that URL and drop that in here and embed, what that's going to give us is it'll be a box that scrolls. So let's have a look at the preview so we can test that. And we're going to see we can scroll through loads and loads of posts. It'll just keep going. So that's how you can embed a feed of a bunch of posts. If you want to embed one particular post, then you would go into that one post and grab the URL for that, because that's the unique URL for that one post. So now we can edit this, paste in that URL, and now it's just going to embed that one singular post. And same thing when we preview that, we're going to see just the one post. Okay, and then it'll take us over to the Twitter account if we want to go there. So that's how, and they all work very, very similarly. It's about grabbing the right link, putting it into the block in the edit field, and updating it, and then clicking embed, and you're going to get not that. I don't know why that did that to me. That's kind of funny. So if you run, my computer just went kind of weird. Look at how it's like flashing, and let's refresh. Or not. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our webinar because my computer just broke. Just kidding. Seriously, I'm stuck here, guys. Okay, there we go. It woke up a little bit. Holy lightning, that was, I don't even have a lot of stuff open. Okay, let's go back here. I want this link. I apologize, guys. I don't know why I'm freezing up all over the place here. Yeah, okay. Don't save. I'm okay with that. Linda, I'm glad I'm not the only one. It does happen. I would reload the browser. I would too. It's just nothing's working. Okay, well, I don't usually like to do this, but I'm going to stop the screen share. And now you get me nice and big. Yay. But I'm going to actually close that browser down completely. Oh, wow. I got the color wheel of death. No. There she is. Share. Okay. It's not flickering anymore. Hopefully this will reload. Oh, that one's still flickering. My goodness. Close that tab. Go away. We don't want you. That's wild. Okay, so the one thing I did want to show you though, can I get back to, I want to show you how you can, okay, so let's try this one more time. So as the demo that I was showing, just put it all like right center and kind of big there, right? But we can also use columns on a page. And let's say we want to create more of like a sidebar kind of look to things, but maybe we don't have a theme that's giving us a sidebar. So you can use columns for that, and you can set them to be full width depending on your theme. I got to caveat that because things are different from theme to theme. Then you can go ahead and drop that in. Yeah, it's saved in my link. There we go. Okay. So you can go ahead and do that. And then when you preview that, there we go. Now we have it as a sidebar. And you would go in and play with the settings. You would adjust padding and widths and all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to show you that you would do that. And then you can add all your content in over on this right hand or left hand, my other right, left hand side here for all your content, and have your sidebar with your feeds there. So that was a convoluted way of showing you how you can pull social into your website. Let's hope that the next section doesn't do that to me as well. So let's move on to the social menus and icons. The screen is not showing for Charlotte. Is everybody else seeing? Okay, other people, yeah, everybody else can see it. I'm sorry, Charlotte. You'll have to double check your settings. Okay, so social media menus and icons. These are two different options. And again, your theme is going to matter. Okay, so let's get out of that page in case it doesn't like me again. We'll go, if you have appearance customize, then that is likely going to mean that you have a menu section in your customizer and you can manage your menus from here. And I really can't stress it enough. There are different themes. There are all kinds of different options. So you need to investigate. You need to go into, see if you have the customizer, see if you have a menu section in your customizer. And then once in there, look and see what kind of menu locations you have. Some themes will have one that is specifically for social links menus. So with that, you can create a new menu. You can create multiple new menus and use them in all sorts of different places, even outside of menu locations. You can place them on a page, but you can set this one, put in all your social links and set it as your social links menu. Depending on your theme, If you recall, when I flipped the theme over to that Russell theme, we saw those icons show up in the top right-hand corner next to the main menu. In this Rockfield theme, they're down the bottom. So they're down here in this, it's not really the footer, but it's towards the footer area. And it's a special section for the social links menu. Okay. So again, investigate your theme, see where things show up, put stuff in, and then look. That's going to be your best option for figuring out where those will show up. But it really is as simple as adding a button. You want to add a custom, sorry, it's not a button, add items. Go to custom links, and you want to put in the URL for whatever your social link is. And you want to do that to yours. As I said before, don't do it to just Facebook. Do it to, Facebook and the rest of your URL. Type in the name of it here and add to menu. And it's going to put it there. So now I've got the Facebook icon twice in here because it was already there. And you could do that. You could have more than one account. It's not going to tell people what they are until they click on them or if they hover over them, but you could still have more than one version of different icons if you wanted to. And that is how you add the items to the social links menu. Now, if your theme does not have this menu location, or maybe you don't have a menu option in your customizer, then from there, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use the social icons block. So for this, let's go to my home page. I might already have some on here, actually. I don't know if I deleted them. Nope, I deleted them. See, I practice these things in advance. They're not scripted, but I practice. All right, so what we're going to do here is, we want to include some social links. You can't, on this theme, you can't get it into the header. If you were using one of the full site editing themes, so you could search up universal to get to those themes as one way. There's other ways, but those ones will allow you to custom build your header. But for now, we could just pop it in here. We could just put it down here and say, search for social. And we're going to find this social icons block. Doesn't pull anything in. So you click the plus sign and you pick which socials you want to add. There's more. So you could click browse all and you're going to get all of the icons that you can pick from that are supported. Now I lost. Let's go back to this one because this one gave me Facebook. All right, so now you add that. And the thing is it's not going to show up. Like if I come off of it, it's gray, even though it's there, it's not going to show up till you add a link to it. So you need to click it again and put the link in. Okay, accept the link. And now it's going to show up when we preview the page. If you want to add another one, even when you have this selected here, you want to click off to the right in this space, or click this icon here to select the whole block so that you get this plus sign back, and then you can add the next one. And then throw in the link for that. And there we go. So now we can, I'll update it this time instead of just previewing. And we can then preview the page and we're going to see that those social links now show up here. Okay. You could move them around. You could try and place them above this block. I played with that when I was testing. It doesn't look very good, so I'm not going to show you. You wouldn't, like I said, in this theme, you can't get it into this top bar. But if you used full site editing, you could. Okay, or if you used a different theme, that might be where the menu location is. So that gives a pretty quick overview. Of those features of how to add the social media menus and icons. And really what you do with them kind of comes down to your imagination and creativity. There's lots of different ways that you can work with those. So moving on to the last section, because last but not least, don't forget to enlist your visitors to share the love from your website. And you want them sharing to their social accounts as well. So we have features to do this. So for this one, let's get out of the home page. We want to go back to tools and marketing. And here we want to go to sharing buttons. And this is going to give us the options for sharing, adding the sharing links to our content. So let me first show you, if we go into this post here. Scroll down the bottom. All we're seeing down here is a reblogging and a like button. That's all that's turned on for this post. So in here, we can go in and say, okay, I want to add some sharing buttons. I want to let them print it. I want Facebook. I want Twitter, and I want them to be able to email it. You could add, oh, let's add Pinterest because it's a different color. So you can do that and you kind of go, oh, well, that's sort of a silly order. So let's click reorder. And from here, don't try and grab up here like I just did because that won't work. Grab these buttons here and you can move them around and it's going to rearrange them. So let's put Pinterest in the middle. So now we have blue, red, blue. Isn't that pretty? All right. So we do that. You want to check all the settings on the page. Where are these going to show up? I want them to show up on my post for sure. You may or may not want them to show up in other places. You would decide on that one. Click Save Changes. And oh, why did that? There was a problem saving your change. Of course there was, because I'm live. There we go. Settings saved successfully. Yay. All right, so let's go here, refresh, and just like that. That was fast. Now we've got all of our share buttons. So now when somebody clicks on that share, it's going to pull in the title and the link to that post, and they can type a message and then tweet it out. I am not going to do that right now. All right, but that's how they can then share your content around their social accounts. Now, one more quick thing I do want to show you on this is, if we go to this one. Oh, I'm sorry, Debbie, I went really fast with that. It was a real quick and easy one. Yes, it's a built-in sharing feature. I'm just going to recap that real quick because Debbie missed it. She blinked. Go to Tools, Marketing, Sharing Buttons, and then that's where you can do the settings for adding the sharing buttons. Now, the thing I want to show you is we have it turned on. We just saw that it's turned on. And I'm going to scroll down the bottom of this post, I think. Yes, we don't have it on this post. Okay, I did that on purpose. I'm going to show you how to fix that because you can control these settings on a per post basis. So if we go over to our list of posts, we already checked the time travel one. Can you tell I'm a fantasy writer? All my demo content is writing related to writing and fantasy. So when we come in here, if we go into this one, we noticed on this particular post, those buttons weren't showing up. And the reason is if we go up, oh, it's already selected. That was a spoiler. When you're in your post and you've got your regular settings thing showing up, you want to click on the jetpack icon up in the top right corner. And that's where you're going to see those options per post. So you can turn on whether you want to show the likes and the sharing buttons. And then when you update that and you refresh, now they're showing up on this post as well. Okay, and that's the how to become a better writer. So that's how you can control it on a per post button. So some of you, there's a comment in the chat box there about not having a marketing button. Chances are it's because you're self-hosted. So it will be in a different location. So Jetpack is probably, I'm going to guess, where you're going to find that. I don't think I have it on this one. Yeah, I don't get that feature through here. So look under Jetpack, and that's probably where you will find it on a self-hosted site. Okay, so it's probably just in a different location. Yeah, so where am I at? Oh, look, my thank you page is next. So we'll wait just a second. We got 10 minutes-ish to the top of the hour. My colleagues have been amazing answering so many of your questions. You guys have been amazing asking so many wonderful questions. There's a lot of information covered, but as I said at the very beginning, this has all been recorded and you can absolutely rewatch it, including all of my freezing up and having to refresh and everything. So yay, that's fun. But yeah, you're going to be able to rewatch this so you can pause it, you can rewind it, you can go back over it, because I know I went pretty fast with a lot of this stuff. So let me pop in here. Okay, so the link, just put it in there again. It's going to fly by pretty quick. Somebody else put it as well. So we'll just keep adding that. But that link is where is where I will be posting the recording. It's not there right now because I'm still recording. But when it's done, then I will definitely post the recording there as soon as I can. I'm not making promises on timelines. It'll be this week. So we still have 56 questions that are unanswered at the minute. My colleagues are typing furiously. I'm going to try and answer a couple and see, but I'm going to warn you right now, we are not going to get to all your questions. I apologize for that. I don't like leaving unanswered questions. But, and I lost my participants. We were up at like 1,600 people here today, so it's not surprising. So we have a question here. Could you automate the blocks in the link in bio so that for every new Instagram post, a new block will be added? No, that's a really cool feature. No, that's a little too high-tech advanced. So there's no way to automate that, not automate the blocks in the, yeah. So you create the page in your website, you would have to go in and add those new blocks into the page or change them to incorporate. You'd also want to be careful. I mean, think about the link in bio page. What is its purpose? You don't want to create a page that has 100 different buttons on it. That's not going to make it easy for people to find your specific information. You want it to be really focused, right? The whole point behind all of these tools is to get your visitors and your audience going back and forth to the places that you want them the most. So if you want them engaging with particular social posts, get your social feed into your website and have your website linked from over in your social media as well, right? Get that cross-linking going on there. With your link in bio page, you want it to be really focused. You want those buttons to have a purpose. To be honest, I mean, the question was asked earlier, benefit between the link in bio page versus putting the social links in the menu. I got to admit, I probably wouldn't do a link in bio page that just has links to all my different social accounts. It's more a matter of, because think directionally, you're putting the link in your social to pull them over to this page that has buttons. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to then send them back to your social. So what would probably make more sense is if you have buttons for a particular post in your website. You've created a long form article, or you've embedded a video or something like that in your website. That's what you want to add the button to in your link in bio page. If you're having a special sale, right? Like I said, a book release, something like that. So be really strategic in how you're using these buttons and why are they there? Don't just put them there because you have all these bazillion things that you want people to do. People are not going to do all of the bazillion things that you want them to do. They're going to do one or two, maybe three of the things that are really important. So you really want to focus that information to drive them more specifically to where you want them. Okay, so kind of went off on a tangent with that question. I do that. Okay, I'm just having a quick scan here. Is there a way to create a link in bio page that has photos to link to daily blog posts? Yes. There's a few different ways that you could do that. So I'm going to do a quick little different demo here. Let's say, I'm just trying to think, see, now I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I didn't practice this one. You could do, like, if you wanted to have the buttons, you know that you can throw the block patterns into place to put the buttons on there. But if you just want to have a really ultra focused page that just has your posts, but without it necessarily being like this big, long scrolling blog posts page kind of thing like that, my recommendation on that is to use the blog post block. This is seriously one of my favorite blocks. The reason is because you have so many options across the toolbar and also down in the settings here. So default, it just pulls in like this, nothing special. But let's go into grid mode. Let's drop the picture behind. Now let's go down here and get rid of the excerpt. What else can we do? Let's make it 2 columns and increase to show 4 posts. Let's make it full width. Let's also, what else do we have? Oh, minimum height. Let's do that. Let's make these images bigger. There we go. I really like this feature. I have this on my own website. I'm going to show you just because I can. So if we go over here, I just showed you kind of how to do it, but this is an example. Okay, so this is one way of just displaying, and this just shows the most recent at the top. The other thing you can do is you can actually create different sections. So this here is one blog post block set up a certain way. And I have notifications kicking off on my computer again. And then you can do a different blog post for a different setup, and then so on and so forth. And you can have a whole bunch of them on the same page. So that is, Gabriana, that is how you could do that, to have the photos linked to specific posts, and the most recent would go up. With this block, you can also control what categories are showing and displaying in each instance of the block. So that's another fun feature. Okay, we are 3 minutes to the hour. Kim, yes, it is a great way to categorize content. It's fabulous. I absolutely love it. And yes, I saw some messages, things fly by, but there is a replay. You will be able to watch this again from the webinars page down, Supercharge your social media, the Learn More page. This is the page where I'm going to put that video probably right here. Under that registration button will go away because we're done. And I'll put that video right in there for you. So you'll be able to watch the replay from here. Okay. And I'm going to call it my lovelies. It's 2 minutes to the hour. And I got through everything, and we've answered so many questions. You are all so welcome. So many thank yous. It's so lovely. Before you run away, please be sure to check out our other webinars. As I showed you on that page, we do have them on a variety of topics. We've also got some online courses. So we've got one on blogging and podcasting, are the 2 different topics we have right now. Keep watching. We're looking to add more. Fingers crossed. I love our courses. And if you decide that building a website just really isn't, your shtick, then we can build it for you. We do have programs to build out your site. We have for more of a starter site, right up to a more like a full e-commerce, more complex online school kind of thing, or whatever. Like we can do the gamut. So reach out to us through there, and you can definitely learn more, and there's no obligation. So you can put in the request and say, yeah, this is my project. This is what I want to do. How much is it going to cost me? And then make a decision from there. Okay. And they'll guide you and let you know what all you want to do for that. Larry, it went very fast for me too. I felt like I was talking a mile a minute. So I apologize for how fast that was, but I do it with confidence because I knew you were going to get the replay. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to try one more time and copy. I know this has been put into the chat box a few times, but I'm going to, pop it back into the chat box once more. It's going to fly by again, but that's okay. I'm going to leave this screen open. You are welcome to copy and paste answers out of the Q&A section. Remember, chat box copy does not work. You have to click the links. But the Q&A, the questions that were typed, and I didn't answer very many. I like 2 or 3 live maybe. My colleagues really did the whole gamut with those questions, and I am so grateful for them. But you can copy those answers into a notepad or something, or a Word doc. I'm seeing a question here. Vanita is asking, can you integrate a YouTube feed? That's a great question. You can absolutely embed YouTube videos. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So what I recommend when we have questions that we don't know the answer to, go to that is not right. Go to wordpress.com/support and have a search in here. Okay. Search our knowledge base and see what the options are and whether or not a playlist I feel like it might be possible, but I don't want to make promises on that. So definitely do a search for that. Okay, I cheated. I answered another question. All right, I am going to shut my side of things down, but I will leave the screen open so you can grab. You'll have to type these links other than getting them from the chat box and in the Q&A. Oh, there we go. They're pasted once more for you there. And yeah, here you go. Wonderful. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.